Hi guys, best regards from Ingolstadt. I have heard that you entered the Kamel GT Championship this year in the good old GTO car, so I wish you best of luck and a lot of success.
Best greetings to all drivers from the Audi GTO 90 Championship. Good success.
VIR saw two very relieved winners in victory lane, but that relief was probably more the result of long overdue wins. Today, we expect many drivers to find relief after the race is over. This time, however, it's because they face the daunting and punishing Detroit Belle Isle circuit. The attrition will likely be as high as the tension is inside the cockpit as we get ready to watch round 7 of the iRacing Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. The bumps in this Michigan circuit have tortured the hands and backs of countless drivers over the years. To get a better idea of just how brutal they are, let's head down to our track guide. Welcome to the Belle Isle Street Circuit. Situated in a beautiful park on Belle Isle itself, it rests in the Detroit River, sandwiched between the Motor City and Canada. With it being in the far north of the Midwestern United States, as you'd expect, harsh winters make this a bone-jarringly bumpy track. It's most known for IndyCar's yearly visit, but has also seen IMSA hold rounds here lately. The 14 narrow corners only add up to a mere 2.3 miles in length, but it can tend to feel like a lot more just from the sheer stress of keeping your car out of the walls. Runoff is non-existent in the majority of corners, so mistakes tend to be punished with race-ending damage. The dangers include the tight and twisty fountain section with its rapid-fire set of bends, and the frightening turns 12 and 13, which end the lap with 2 swift kinks. However, the most notorious spot on the track is the exit of Turn 2, made famous by collecting the Corvette pace car into its hungry walls one year. The first 2 turns are a quick chicane, so the extreme change of direction, plus the rise in the track as it crosses over a creek, means grip and balance can disappear in an instant. While the setup of the car can sometimes help lessen the annoyance of the bumps a little, what this place all comes down to is driver skill and daring. Precision will pay off with the close proximity of the barriers. While it isn't a stroll in the park for drivers, fans get to enjoy the beauty of the scenery all while watching some of the most thrilling racing an American street course has to offer. There you see some of the narrow ways that you have around this track. Adam, I got to be honest, having raced IndyCar 1 and 2 as a kid, I was very excited when this showed up on the sim.
I think we all were excited. This is the American alternative to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. The Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle is an amazingly technical American street circuit. With 14 turns spanning 2.34 miles or 3.78 kilometers, this undulating, bumpy track has concrete barricades inches from the racing line at every turn. Featuring only 1 high-speed corner and 2 medium-speed corners, this track is the bane of the Nissan GTP driver, with bumpy braking zones and corner exits, as well as mile-high curves at the center of each corner, destabilizing the car all across this track. Maintaining traction around here is all about patience and car control. neutral for the Nissans. The Audis have a much easier time with it, using the four-wheel drive rally-borne drivetrain of the GTO to pull through the corners, and a little bit of rear brake bias to rotate the car in the braking zones to line up for maximum speed on exit. Multiclass is extremely chaotic here. While the lap times are not particularly that spread apart compared to the last few races on the calendar, the Nissans only have the two main straights to pass the Audi. Then they have to wait behind them through the tight technical turns. The winner in both classes today will be the one to navigate the traffic the best and the one to survive any brushes with the wall, but all of that is easier said than done, Joe.
Really is. It's certainly an execution day, and I don't mean that in the grim sense. I mean, you really have to try and be precise out on the track. Now, let's take a look at the championship, starting with the prototypes, because things are getting interesting now that Gerber finally won a race. He's pulling away from Nick Mukanos. And then Tobias Gerber jumping up 3 positions there to get into 3rd place with a good finish last week. Laus Olsen also climbing the same amount, but keeping close to Tobias Gerber. Michael Houghton rounds out your top 5 with how deep we are into the season. Less than 50 points between those top 5s. Pretty impressive. Let's take a look at the GTOs as well and see how that's shaping up.
No changes here, but a little bit of change in how spread apart they are. Dennis Neidhart pulls a little bit on Juco La Scala after last week's race where Juco did not have the best time. Phil Lake is only 3 points behind Juco La Scala going into this round, with Reed Miller only 10 points behind Phil Lake, and then Hideki Koivisto jumps into the bottom of the top 5 for the first time this season, passing Andrea Albertinelli and Rob Olenek to jump into that spot. But Dennis only 9 points ahead as we go into this. It's pretty much everyone's game up there for the top 3 positions based upon who might be able to grab this championship.
I think if Dennis falters in any way, we could see this shift around quite a bit. Let's take a look at the race details for today's event as well. We are in round 8, and we have a 40-minute race, mercifully. They've done a 60-minute here before, but that was just as crushing for the drivers, if not more so. The open setup means that they can tweak the settings on each of these cars to their liking. Anything that you could have done on the real car back in '89, well, you can do on these cars here in the sim. They have no fast repair. That's going to be critical today because, as we've said before, it's easy to get damage at the walls at this track. They also have an incident limit, but as you can see, you have to get 17 just to get the drive-through. If anybody even gets to that drive-through and is still with the car running, I will be absolutely amazed. We'll see how the qualifying goes because that'll be equally important. And right now, Justin Albrecht is back after leading much of the championship. His lack of attendance has sent him downwards, and he's on the provisional pole in the prototypes. Leskala is currently leading down in the GTOs.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how everybody navigates this. We have a lot of cars here today, Joe. 46 cars on this track right now, in this multi-class session, no less. And looking at the standings, it is fairly evenly split between these classes, so that's going to make things very difficult for the large GTP field. We're taking a look at Chuko Leskala, who currently has provisional pole. This Finnish driver has been fast all season and has been putting it to Dennis Neidhart throughout the season, but Dennis just having a little bit more of an advantage here. Looks like Justin Albrecht has returned to the GTP this week and has jumped to the top of those standings.
Yes, he increased his gap, and by a big margin, because Gerber didn't manage to improve. It's 7/10 between first and second place right now. Millward just finished his qualifying, and he didn't, well, he improved, but he still sits in 4th after that. Tobias Gerber actually right behind his brother. They were talking last week about how they wanted a 1-2, but Leskala unfortunately slapping the wall at the end of his qualifying.
Yeah, that final corner can be deceptively difficult in the Audis, especially because you've set up this car for the small short turns, and so when you get to that big sweeping final turn, you actually have to back off a little bit if you don't take the line correctly. So it's very challenging. Hideki Koivisto crossing the line, a good improvement for him on time, but still only 13th position. So looks like everyone's being a little bit cautious with that final turn, and the Audis not clipping the curb as much as I'm used to with these guys being that aggressive. Jamie Hall, though, down in the 5th position. Still a decent qualifying for him, but Phil Lake just jumped up to 4th, so Phil doing a decent job. And Ove Trangrade, surprise, is actually in the 3rd position qualifying. He usually has a decent qualifying, but I'm a little bit surprised to see him this far up when it comes to here at Belle Isle, because this isn't a track that he normally would say that he's good at.
Yeah, and it's not a track that I would think really goes well with a slidey setup like he tends to run. As we watch the last of the prototypes come through. Worth noting, you saw on your screen, Olenek gave up on his second lap, and I'm not entirely sure why. Millward is already done. He's had his 2 laps in, so that's why we see him heading into the pits. John Keefe right now, his second lap, as he spins just after it. Thankfully, that won't affect his qualifying. A 21.3 is good enough for 11th for him. And hey, look at this. Don Peak has joined us once again. He's already finished his 2 laps, and his first was his fastest with a 33.2. Unfortunately, that's the last of the times anybody's put down in the Audis.
Now, it looks like Hideki Koivisto and Alex Moss might have an opportunity to finish their laps right now. So Hideki Koivisto coming across 132.274 is not going to improve his time. Still only in the 13th position. Fabio Iati has yet to set a time, and ooh, he clips the wall on the outside, so that's once again not going to count. So unfortunately, he's going to have to start from the back of the pack. Simo Raba only up to 16th position, but still on a flying lap, so he's going to be able to finish this one coming out of the final corner now.
Didn't think this would be a track where we'd have to worry about the 0Xs and whatnot disqualifying laps. Meanwhile, Stefan Schlacker, you see on your screen, just going to make it across the line here at the end. Well, maybe not, because it looks like that wall bit yet another one. So that 22.2 is going to stand, and he's going to have a little bit of fun and try and finish the lap backwards, it seems.
Ove Trangrade currently in the 3rd position, going around the fountain section. This is going to be a little bit tight for him. He's actually not going to be able to finish this time as he clips the outside wall anyway, but qualifying has wrapped up.
Indeed it has. Let's go through our starting order for today. Justin Albrecht back again with the pole, with Fabian Gerber starting in 2nd position. Tobias Gerber going to be behind him on the next row in 3rd. Alex Millward over to the prototypes recently. Qualified 4th today. Nick Buchanos down in 5th because of that. And then we have James Allen Broadbent starting in the 6th position. Laust Olsen, P7 for him. To the outside of that row, it's Fabian Jungluth in 8th. Stephen Warkup starts 9th, and Pablo Suarez in 10th. John Keefe bumped out of the top 10 after that qualifying is done. He'll start 11th with Martin Krajcik in 12th, and Yuri Geisen in 13th position. Gabriel Lanini, 14th for him today. Heitor Sintez Galindo, 15th. Then you got Radar Anderson in the P16. Stefan Schlacker, because of that second lap not getting to be finished, he wound up in 17th. Guillermo Kramer, 18th for him. Alberto Moreno starts in 19th, Andre Juteau in 20th, and Jerry Forkolb in 21st. And you've got Carlos Fonseca, Chris Howard, Johnny Bell, and Mike Reuter rounding out the prototype field without putting a lap in.
Juco Lascala is going to take pole in the Audis with Dennis Neidhart in 2nd place. Ove Trangrade is going to start off 3rd with Phil Lake stuck in 4th position next to his teammate Jamie Hall in 5th. Reed Miller is going to start off 6th with Rob Olenek in 7th. Franco Scurry is going to start off in the 8th position with Alex Moss in 9th. Jake Johansson is going to start off 10th for the GTOs with Ben Laughter 11th alongside him. Christopher Zochling is going to start off in the 12th position with Alexis Tapiavico in 13th. Hideki Koivisto is going to start off 14th today with Jamie Hamill-Smith in 15th. Simo Raba all the way down in 16th position, unfortunately, next to Alexander Veldman in 17th. Donald Peake's going to start off 18th, stuck there as our last qualifying time person with Fabio Iati in the 19th position. Craig Schultz 20th, and Pablo Rangel will round out your 46-car field in 21st.
Oof. Well, if that doesn't sound difficult enough on a very tough track, let's take a look at the weather. And it is 100 degrees Fahrenheit right now on the concrete. So it is going to be a very hard day for these drivers. That is going to be slippery. They've also got wind just to add to the misery. I think that this could be a bit of a high attrition day, unfortunately, to put it mildly. Justin Albrecht leads them behind the Porsche pace car. Out of the final few corners, that pace car going to duck in, give control to the number 1 machine. There you see the Audis as well. with a very short start for them on this qualifying. Albrecht is on the loud pedal and the green flag is out here at Detroit. He gets a good jump. He is in the clear down into the first few corners. What about the rest of the drivers? Sometimes this can cause chaos in 1 and 2. It's cold tires. So far, so good as they come over the hump off of Corvette Corner. And I think we got a clean start for the GTPs.
The GTOs absolutely did not. Huge wrecks happening in the back of the field. Dennis Neidhart currently in the lead as Zuko Lascala actually ran into the back of a slow starting GTP. So the GTO field is completely spread out at this point. We already have some of them in the pits. Dennis Neidhart leads over Phil Lake and Reed Miller.
That is unfortunate that we've already had an incident before they could even take the green flag, but Justin Albrecht almost a second ahead of Gerber at this point as they come down into the fountain section for the first time. One of the narrowest parts of this track and also one of the trickiest for this beastly GTP.
Yeah, the GTPs are going to have a really hard time today because of that really high temperature on track. It's like driving on ice, we heard a report from one of our drivers, and this is going to be very difficult. Looks like we have a pass possibly going on in the back there. It looks like it might be Nick McConnell's on Jimmy Broadbent.
Looks like that went away. Yes, it did. So we got them on screen. Still giving chase, though. This is for 5th position already with that traffic coming back out. That's some of our drivers. Fabio Iati, after taking a few repairs, getting going once again. Mukanos looking for the spot. Thinks twice about it as they come down into turn 3.
I think Mukanos might have had that. He didn't realize that Jimmy's already got some straight line speed damage on the left rear of that car. You could see it just pushed up a little bit, that wing. But Jimmy Broadbent attacking those curbs quite aggressively in the GTP. That might not go so well a couple laps into this race. But Jimmy being very aggressive right now with that GTP in 6th.
Meanwhile, let's go back to our GTO class because it looks like Leskala leading ahead of Johansson. Also got a little bit of a battle behind them. Christopher and the number 11 along with Trangrade and Laughter all in a very close fight.
Yeah, Christopher Zoschling, Ove Trangrade, and Ben Laughter battling now for the 7th position. This is where the GTOs really do show their strength. Ove Trangrade in the draft of Zoschling. Zochling's going to actually take the inside position. That's a great defense that he's going to be able to make here. If he can outbreak Ove Trangrade, he's actually going to let Ove by, but this might get Ben Laughter a little bit crossed up. Ben almost makes contact, and Ove Trangrade now breaks himself, so they're still side by side as they go through the fountain section. This is going to slow them down significantly, and Zochling's going to come out the better.
Oof, Trangrade was trying for it, but just couldn't get it done. A lot of curb there for Zoschling as well. So we watched.
Oh, Jimmy Broadbent has made contact with the outside wall. Nick McConnell was trying to go by on the inside. Jimmy thought he could outbreak him on the outside, but the track surface just too slick right now.
Watch the replay. This is down into 3 once again. This is on board Jimmy.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too deep into the corner and clips that outside barrier. Now, fortunately, those outside barriers are fairly slick as another car actually got into the wall behind them. They're fairly soft, those outside tire barriers, but he's still probably going to be a little bit down on speed.
Mukanos now up to 5th because of that. And we'll watch them work their way through the fountain section once again. Let's not count out Laust Olsen. I continue to be impressed with the 33's increase in pace and consistency here. Still racing in the top 10, looking for a good finish today.
Yeah, the thing Laust has to do, the thing all drivers have to do on this circuit is you can't do what you normally do, which is look at the driver ahead and go, I can catch him and get more aggressive. You actually have to look at the driver ahead and go, I am catching him and stay consistent. Because if you try and push around this circuit, there is no off track for you to get. The only thing on the outside of this circuit is a concrete barrier, and you will hit that and lose time, speed, and maybe even drop out of this race.
Back in 12th in the GTOs, Feldman fighting with Smith, and I think Scurry as well. They're going to get that sorted out as Scurry still falls back to 14th. Had a little bit of a look there on Hamill Smith. The 42 going to hold him at bay in this very tight little fountain section. Now It starts to pick up as they're going to head through the actually surprisingly dangerous turns 12 and 13. Oh, and down to the inside. That was a late dive. Scurry's going to make it stick, though.
I don't think Franco was intending to pass there. I think he didn't realize that Jamie was going to break that early, and he had to dive to the inside there, but that might cause a little bit of left front damage for Franco, which could actually really affect his pace, especially in the turn.
And he's still a little slow. I wonder if he is damaged, as Rangel was now trying to get around him. Once again, caught a little bit out by the slow pace of the 42. Takes another look to the inside. Very, very early braking for Jamie Hamill-Smith.
I think Jamie's just being conservative right now. He doesn't want to get into the back of Pablo Rangel, but that makes it very difficult to predict where the car's going to be. And with guys really pushing as hard as they are, especially after that wreck early on in the race, this might hold up some people or maybe even get them into a wreck.
Up in third in the prototypes, Alex Millward in that dirty torque car has suddenly caught up to the back of Tobias Gerber, trying to deny another brotherly podium, because Fabian has left them in the dust. He's about 4.5 seconds ahead. Tobias struggling a bit here early on. Alex not close enough as we ride on the 007 cam. Looking back, they come down into turn 7.
And Stefan Schlocker's been spun around by Alberto Moreno. Coming through the corners, looks like he had some trouble before that as well, so he's backwards on the course right now.
He's in a really awkward spot, too. I'm keeping half an eye on that in case it causes problems, because he's kind of stuck where he can't get turned around. Let's stay on this battle, which is still quite close, down into 12 and 13. Look how close they push up to those walls.
Yeah, very, very close. This might be a good opportunity for Millward to try and go by on this straight, but look at that. Tobias Gerber pulling very well. Let's see whether or not Millward can get him down into the first couple of corners on the exit of these twisty bits.
So down into turn 3 once again. And he's not nearly close enough. The number 6. But the traffic might help out. Gerber having to go to the inside of Koivisto, but it also causes just a slight bit of contact between Koivisto and Millward.
Yeah, look at that. Koivisto not giving Millward much room there on the outside. Jamie Hamill-Smith's going to actually go around the outside of this corner, which is an interesting decision, letting Tobias Gerber and Millward through, but that's going to give advantage to Gerber as they go back onto the back straight, because Millward just too far back to do anything.
Meanwhile, got a little bit of a battle back in 10th. Suarez with Gallindo and Anderson back there. In fact, don't count out John Keefe if this starts to erupt. They're chasing Quatrick, but he's starting to pull away. Oh, and Suarez is way down on speed. So much damage to that car. Sintez Gallindo makes it look easy down along the backstretch.
Yeah, we already have a lot of cars with significant damage right now. Suarez is only the latest addition, and Raider Anderson's going to have to wait, actually, to make the pass. And this is what I'm talking about. When these GTBs start to catch up to the GTOs, they're going to have the same issue when they go through these technical sections. Suarez is way down on pace, but Anderson can't do anything through these technical sections because there's no room to pass. Suarez hits the wall again. There's just no room to pass. The circuit is just not wide enough. Here he has the opportunity. He's going to look to the inside and make the pass.
Yeah, that's even more damage now for the 27, and that's going to allow, as they go by Don Peak, John Keefe to catch up. The 32, I have to imagine this is going to be another easy pass, and indeed, so much better straight line speed. The 32 now up to 12th. Down in 8th in the GTOs. Ben Laughter leads ahead of Olenek, who's struggling to keep Zoschling behind him.
Yeah, Rob Olenek just passed Zoschling, and Zoschling not happy about it. He's trying to snake his way back by, but they're catching up to Ben Laughter ahead of them as well. And just a couple of seconds down the road is Jake Johansson. Here comes our leader, Justin Albrecht, through. Justin having to navigate these battles in the GTOs. Look how much time he has to lose staying behind there. Here comes Fabian Gerber coming through as well. So Fabian cut down about 4 seconds just in that section alone, and that's just how much the traffic's going to affect this race.
But Fabian's now dealing with Olenek, and he's going to cause them both to be slowed down through 1 and 2. That may gift some of that time back, and indeed it does. It's back up to 2 seconds between Albrecht and Gerber just through that exchange.
And actually the battle for P12 in the GTOs is very, very close right now between Alexis Tapiavico and Franco Scurry. Franco Scurry actually trying to go on Vico, but Jimmy Broadbent's going to actually break up this battle just a little bit, but here comes Franco Scurry down the inside. They're going to go 3 wide into the corner with Lars Stolzen and Fabian Newblue trying to cut through the inside. That's going to hold up that entire battle, and Franco Scurry is going to be able to make it by just by nature of everyone having to be very cautious through there.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen 3 wide work in that corner, so great heads up to everyone. Scurry now gets himself into 11th with that move. Boy, it is all kicking off here, and we're only 10 minutes into this race as we continue to watch from the back of Scurry on Vico. Oh, and Suarez. Oh, Suarez is backwards, and the track is almost blocked here. And that looks like, trying to figure out who else that was with him.
Stephen Warkup in the 10, the 18th position in the GTPs right now. That's how far he's dropped back, and that was a big incident.
Yeah, let's take a look at the replay. There might have been some contact here. Yeah, Warkup was slowed from the traffic. Suarez didn't know. And then they both were turned around backwards, so everybody just kind of had to tiptoe through. Here's the replay.
Oh, just rough right there.
Suarez in the 27 obviously had to take a tow.
Oh, we have complete chaos in the top 4 for the GTPs. This is between Millward and Mecanos, and they're in with the top 10 in the GTOs, and things are getting really rough around here. That's Tobias Gerber up ahead of them. Rob Olenek in the GTOs, Ben Laughter in the GTOs, and Jake Johansson. And this is exactly the kind of chaos with the traffic that's going to hold up these GTPs. They have to make the pass on this straight now, otherwise they're going to be stuck behind them through the fountain section. They're going to possibly go 4 wide here. No, they're going to have to break because Ben Laughter trying to make a pass, or Robin Olenek trying to make a pass on Ben Laughter here. Alex Millward and Nick Mecanos stuck behind them in those dirty torque machines. There's contact between the 2 GTOs that's really going to hold up Millward and Mecanos.
Laughter also now has Zoschlein on him, and it looked like everybody else was able to make it through clean so far, but it's not quite over.
JB Hall is backwards on the track now. He was in 3rd in the GTOs, and he is now on the inside of the course as all these guys that we were just watching go by, and he's now going to lose a ton of time and possibly have to take a tow.
Back to this battle on screen as they go by Olenek. Mecanos still can't quite get by Millward. What about with Johansson up in front of them? Johansson going to keep it tight to the inside and let them through. That has got to be scary coming over that hump.
Look how slow.
Staying on the racing line here. He's going to have a go with the defensive move from Millward. He slides a little bit, and the over-under isn't quite there.
Look how slow Millward is in a straight line as we go on board with Mecanos, but Millward able to stay ahead just due to how he's navigating the traffic. Ove Trangrade is the next on the list. Remember, Ove and Jake Johansson were battling side by side just a lap ago, and now they're separated by more than 3 seconds. Here comes Nick Mecanos' best opportunity to try and pass Millward. Can he get there before the corner?
He's trying, he's looking for it, but he thinks better of it. We don't need to go to it, but Craig Schultz and... Oh, the wall. Oh my goodness. I don't think we'll see a clean car at all after this race. It's going to look like Bristol with the cars. Sintez Guindo and Craig Schultz unfortunately got into a wreck, so they have, Sintez Guindo is out, but Schultz keeps going. Again, don't need a replay on that one. We haven't mentioned it, but Neidhart still leads in the GTOs. Phil Lake has been chasing him, and it's actually relatively close. It's 8 tenths behind them. That could change very swiftly considering the traffic problems today.
Yeah, Phil Lake has given up on his usual calm driving at the beginning of his races. I think he knows that he's definitely going to have a lot of traffic breaking up this battle, so he is trying to claw his way to the back of Dennis Neidhart as quickly as humanly possible. Because if he can make the pass now, it's a good chance that traffic will break up this battle later, and he'll be able to retain that lead.
Giving chase, he's only got Tobias Gerber coming up in a solo effort, but then they start to get some battles coming. Mecanos, Millward, and Broadbent are relatively close, so they're not going to be willing to sit around. Down into the fountain section once more. The number 3. He's got many races under his belt, many checkered flags this season. Can he add another, and can he survive today?
Phil looks very strong with his set right now. Looks like Dennis Neidhart dealing with a little bit of a tight race car through the center of the corner, so Phil looking much more comfortable, whereas Dennis seems to be struggling with this hot track. So it looks like Phil might have the advantage here, but he's going to have to pick the right time to go, and he's running out of time because Tobias Gerber only 1.5 seconds back. You just see him in the back of the screen, so he's going to catch them by the time they get to the straight. Hopefully he passes them on the straight, otherwise that's going to hold up Phil going into the first sharp right-hand corner.
Might be able to time it just right. No, not quite. He slows it up coming off the corner, so he might only get one.
And this will hold up Phil.
He's going to have to stick it between the two of them.
Yeah, majorly held up.
Oh. Well, again, there's more action coming because Mukanos is right behind. And then they got two more immediately after that even.
See, and this is the trouble when you're in a GTO and you get passed by a GTP through these sharp right-hand corners. You can actually get out the corner faster than the GT. It broke up the battle by about 1 second, whereas Phil Lake was up to 0.4 behind Dennis Neidhart. So he actually almost lost the draft there because of the passing GTP, and now we've got more GTPs in the mix. This is Nick Mukanos, but Nick's going to have to stay behind through this fountain section because there's no way to get by the GTOs through here. The GTPs just cannot get down the power fast enough. He's going to try around the outside here, but that's really going to hold up Phil Lake on the exit of this corner.
I think he timed it pretty decently. As we head back to fourth place, and do we just have a change here with Olenek and Johansson? Looks like he managed it on the backstretch. Let's take a look at that. I think it might have been a missed shift or something.
Yeah, Jake Johansson looks very slow on the inside. I think he was just nervous because it was actually 3 wide between the three of them as they went down the backstretch. So Johansson just pulling over to the side of the road and saying, you know what, I think I'm going to live to fight another day here.
Now he's under threat from Zoschling behind him. Number 11, not a name that we typically see in this series, but faring quite well considering he's running 6th and potentially could crack into the top 5. He's going to try and see if he can set himself up through 1 and 2. Need that good exit over the hump, taking it right up to the edge of the wall, and though it's decent, it is not good enough.
No, he did not get a good enough launch, and so that means Jake Johansson's going to be able to maintain that position. He's actually not much slower than Rob Olenek, but look at Zoschling. He's very aggressive right now. A driver we haven't heard the name of much this season, if at all, is now here battling for that top 5 position with Jake Johansson.
Gonna ride on board with Christopher now. Currently riding 6 in this class. Boy, he is very willing to get it right up against the walls in a few places here as he's trying to hold to the back of Johansson. No dice down the back stretch. They're being approached by Gabriel Lanini as well. And then I think behind them, yeah, it's a fight actually between 3 cars. Geisen, Moreno, and Warcup. Actually, 4 of them. Fonseca as well. This is well down the order in the prototypes, but this could cause a lot of problems for this fight in the GTOs.
Yeah, this battle for 12th has been completely fantastic the entire time. Carlos Fonseca just kind of falling off the back of this a little bit, but Steven Warcup, Alberto Moreno, and Yuri Gierson right in that 13th position as Carlos Fonseca actually gets a little bit of a slide in the back, so he's going to fall off the back of this. But this battle for 13th is very tight between all of them as they go into turn 1.
The Benelux driver going to be held up a little bit. Oh, has to pick away. He's going to brush the wall. Geisen unfortunately slowed up. We're looking at 3, almost 4 wide. Moreno to the inside. Can he keep out of him? No. Lanini, and that's going to collect even more people. Somehow everybody keeps the cars going, and Yuri in the number 28 gains multiple positions out of that.
Oh, that was very, very, very sketchy there. A very late breaking moment from, I believe that was Gabriel Lanini, who came in very deep and just couldn't get the car wound up enough.
With the 28 of Yuri, because not only did he brush the wall, but he got car contact, and yet he still came out ahead of everything. Need to back up. It looks like we're on Moreno right now, because this all kicked off coming off at turn 2 for the number 28 there. And Watch it. There's just after the incident right there for the Benelux driver. So I'm not sure that we'll be able to get it then. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is after he brushed the wall and down into the corner. Sees him slide through and thinks he's clear. Actually, maybe he didn't make contact. I think he got out of it clean. Just wild stuff. So he continues to lap the traffic. Don't need a replay, but Jerry Forkold, unfortunately, and the prototypes had a little bit of an accident of his own.
And that battle is not over yet. Alberto Moreno trying to go past Gabriel Lanini and Carlos Fonseca in the background, and he's actually going to get held up a little bit by Fonseca pulling in front of them. But this is just tough stuff. We're on board with the damaged Gabriel Lanini. He will fall off of these guys quite quickly because of the amount of damage that he has. But Carlos Fonseca and the recovering Alberto Moreno are going to have a tight battle as they go down the backstretch here.
Hansen in front of them. That's our 5th place driver in the GTOs. So they're going to want to try and hold him up as little as possible. Fonseca gets through. Moreno, oh, it's very deep there for Lanini, and he gets Oh, and unfortunately Moreno gets the car turned around. Can he get it back facing the right way just as poor Zoschling threads the needle, approaching the car blind?
We're going to take a look at this replay because this was just Moreno getting way too deep into the corner, and that was because he had Lanini getting deep into the corner behind him, and he tries to go through it, but just no front end traction there. It clobbers the wall.
And that's Zoschling in the number 11 that you're going to see. Well, it looks like we stepped away too soon, but just had no idea where that car was and locked out. A lot of damage on that Nissan, and that was our leader that just lapped him as Moreno's trying desperately to at least see the checkered flag. He's got a lot of racing left to go here. Albrecht has about a 3-second lead over Gerber currently. Comfortable, but not comfortable enough, I'd say.
No, not at all. And that is entirely because of how much traffic is going on. But here is Jimmy Broadbent trying to pass the damaged Alex Millward. He's been working on this for quite a while, and he just cannot seem to get it done through the corners. And then Millward gets decent drafts as we see the damaged Stephen Schlacher coming back out onto the circuit. I will get it out eventually. Simo Raba is the car that they're passing on the inside. So Millward and Broadbent are going to try and make it past Stefan now. And it's going to be a difficult move for both of them because Stefan, with a little bit of damage, he's going to pull over to the side of the inside of the road. And next up is Alexander Veldman. And he is, Gilher Kramer in the 20th position. He's another lap car. So Jimmy Broadbent chasing Millward.
Battle of the Brits for what is 5th place here in the prototypes. Just ahead of them, that's Kramer getting lapped, but he's also got to deal with Veldman. Into the fountain section they all go, and is Kramer going to try and push the issue? No, he's going to sit behind, and that's going to slow up Millward and Broadbent, both of them. How are they going to dissect all of this? He tries to pull off line, but that actually checks them up once again. Millward once through, he's going to get it in turn 12. And through 13, everybody is finally by, but awkward moments here in the prototypes.
Yeah, and Millward really working hard to try and get by in an opportune place, and he did so. Broadbent's going to think better. He actually goes to the inside of Veldman. He probably could have taken that moment because that Veldman knew that Broadbent was coming quite quickly. But, yeah, so that definitely breaks up that battle for sure.
A little bit ahead of them, P3 is closing in. Mukanos has been caught by Tobias Gerber. And Gerber was ahead of him a little bit earlier in this race, remember. So I think Tobias is going to be eager to try and snatch that one back from him.
Absolutely. Mukanos and Gerber are one of the 2 drivers who have clean cars left. Just Albrecht's another one of them. But it's just very, very difficult for these guys to try and make any passes around here just because of how congested the track is. For reference, we've only lost about 9 vehicles so far in this race out of the 46 that started. I mean,
it's out of a large field, but that is still a lot of attrition here as we continue to ride on board with this fight. I'm also keeping half an eye on Neidhart and Lake because that's down to 7/10 for the lead in the GTO.
Yeah, but every time that Phil is able to close in on Neidhart, they get traffic that causes problems for them. And next up is going to be Steven Warkup, two seconds behind. And now they have Pablo Regal on the inside of the corner. This actually might hold up Dennis Neidhart, giving Phil Lake an opportunity here. Let's see what happens. There goes Dennis Neidhart by. Phil Lake's going to lose about 2/10 trying to make the pass on Pablo Regal on the inside of that corner. And Steven Warkup's going to get held up behind Pablo Regal, so this actually might buy them a little bit more time. Next up is the damaged car of Jamie Hall, who we saw on the inside of the track earlier. So let's see whether or not Jamie plays the team game here and tries to hold up Dennis just a little bit.
Not sure if they'll try and specifically hold up Dennis, but I know Jamie understands what it's like when the leaders come through, so I have a feeling that he's going to be very polite and let them by. There's Warkup just getting in the midst of things now, looking for the over-under. No, he's going to go around the outside and holds up Dennis Neidhart, taking away his speed. And there's Hall, just like I said, slowing, letting them through, making sure that Phil Lake as well is able to get by. It's still about 7/10, so not much of a change after all of that.
Phil a little bit deep into that corner there. It was a little bit sketchy. He hit the apex still, but it was very difficult. We're going to jump up to the battle between Laust and Jungbluth. This is the battle for 7th position in the GTPs, as we see Phil actually hit the inside of that corner there.
Yeah, that cost him a little bit of that exit speed. Got to be careful with those curbs in these prototypes. They do not like them. That's Franco Scurry up ahead in the Audi. I think 1 is going to get him, but I don't know that 2 is going to get him. He holds off the apex. Scurry lets them both by. Nicely done. Jungbluth, though, still about 6/10 back as they come over the hump and down towards turn 3. That'll deny him a good chance into this popular passing spot.
Yeah, and Joe, that battle between Millward and Broadbent just won't go away.
Oh, Jungbluth caught the wall. We're going to watch the replay on that one. We saw it live, but one more look at it from on board. Oh, and when we come back, unfortunately, we had a wreck with Broadbent. This was into the fountain section just now. You can see he's got the car going, but I think it is crabbing a bit. If we go back about 40 seconds here, we'll see the incident. It was lap traffic, unfortunately, that caught him. He was so close because the traffic was holding up Millward as well.
Yeah, and this is gonna make Jimmy pretty mad because Millward was up ahead of them, and it was the lap traffic that got slow through the apex of the corner at the end of this straight here, and it ends up, you get a little bit of net code, and then it ends up spinning them, and then Jimmy Broadbent just gets sandwiched between a GTO and a GTP.
Oh, yeah, he caught that car ahead, and it's just unfortunate. It's not much that Jimmy could do about the situation. You can see he's continuing on, but with extensive damage. Going back to Mukanos once again. Tobias Gerber is close behind and actually taking a look as a defensive move from Mukanos covers off the inside. Hard to pull an over-under here. They just went by Rob Olenek and the GTOs. Gerber stays behind. These two have lost incredible touch with the top 2. It's about 21 seconds up to Fabian, his brother, right now.
And Fabian's only 1 second behind Justin Albrecht, so he's trying to keep touch with that leader, as the leader has been cutting through the field quite aggressively, whereas these guys are being a little bit more patient, and that's why you're seeing the big difference. Actually, Fabian Gerber is about to possibly pass Justin Albrecht. They're within half a second of each other.
And did we just lose Rob Olenek? I think we lost Rob Olenek because I saw him disappear on my screen, and I'm trying to figure out where in the world he went.
He got into an incident with Johnny Belle, I believe.
No, he slid into the wall, and then Johnny Belle got caught up behind him. And actually, I think Johnny Belle caused an incident with Alex Millward. So Millward is into the pits because of that. So this had big implications at the top of both fields.
Yeah, so as we see
Trying
Fabian
to find
Gerber losing track of Justin Albrecht, we're going to take a look at this replay, and you're going to see right here. And oh man, that's Millward just getting into the back of Johnny Belle. Johnny was there for a good 30 seconds
He was
at
trying
the
to get
center
turned
of the
around,
corner.
yeah. And poor Jimmy Broadbent also found himself running straight into it. Now there is a little bit of damage you saw on our leader there as we took a small glance on him. This is Johnny Belle's issue. Now he didn't initially hit anything. He just came upon the stopped car of Olenek and then just was trying to get going, and unfortunately didn't get going in time. Yeah, that I don't like to put, judge too much since we're up in the booth, but he really just kind of made a bad decision in the moment, I think.
And the leaders of the GTPs are having a really hard time cutting through traffic right now. Justin Albrecht almost got collected by Yuri Giersen in the last corner, but he's now free, and Fabian Gerber and Justin Albrecht really having a hard time.
They go by Warcup. Warcup's going to stay to the outside, sees them coming, and lets them through.
Oh, that was very close for Fabian Gerber on the exit. He almost clipped the outside of that concrete barrier, but he is gaining on Justin Albrecht, who looks like he has a little bit of left front damage, maybe.
Yeah, I've just mentioned that before. I think he had some contact with Stefan Schlacker, which unfortunately put Stefan out of the race. He's able to keep going. Certainly it looks like it's a bit of a struggle. Just has to survive for 8 more minutes. It's easier said than done.
8 minutes is about 7 laps, so he's going to have a little bit of trouble here with Veldman. That's going to hold him up significantly. Fabian Gerber is going to be able to close a lot here.
And
oh my goodness!
That was Warcup in the background. Just sent into the air by Geisen and Fonseca. That was because I think Warcup hit the wall.
And Warcup's going to take a ride here. We're going to watch on board as they go through the first corner. Warcup hits the outside wall, and then he just jumps on board just for a little bit of a ride there.
My goodness. Someone, that was a bit of the infamous shovel nose from those Nissans that tends to scoop up cars. Such a wedge shape. Dennis Neidhart, as we jump back to him, has been able to pull away from Phil Lake. It's about 3 seconds separating them. Traffic has not been kind to the number 2.
No, the number 2's been struggling with that traffic, and it continues to cause problems for him. That 3-second gap is going to be really hard to reconcile in the about 6 laps that they have left in this race. So big challenges for Phil to try and get back up there to Dennis.
Dennis dealing with traffic just the same way that Fabian Gerber is. He got slowed up a little bit by Don Peak, so what was 0.8 of a second has grown to 1.2 between Albrecht and Gerber. And we see the blue and white machine of Fabian, the multi-time champion, still chasing Justin. Justin sneaking by Johnny Belle. That's going to split them temporarily.
Johnny's going to pull over and let Fabian Gerber go by, but Gerber's line into the next corner a little bit compromised. There's Jerry Forkhold that pulls over to the side of the road and lets Justin go by. Fabian Gerber's going to come up on him on the straightaway, so I'd expect Jerry to pull over there as well. Here comes Gerber, and that's exactly what happens, but Gerber losing the exit. So all these little things add up to losing time to the leader, is just based upon how he has to exit the corners or enter the corners with a little bit more caution. But look at when he gets that clean air, he really claws back the time quickly. He's already gained 2/10 just in the clean air alone. So if Gerber can get the traffic right, or if Justin gets held up, this lead will absolutely change.
Being is safe in Camel Series, and especially at a track like Detroit. As we ride on this onboard, we've got the helmet cam right now with Fabian Gerber. This shows you how bumpy this track is, way better than anything else. As you see the car just jostle around.
Yeah, and the concrete slabs on the backstretch really do show it. It really undulates. But whoa, he's gonna get held up here by Julia Kramer, and Kramer's gonna go to the outside there, but that lost him about a second behind the very slow GTP.
Yeah, there's a difference in pace, quite a margin of difference in pace between many of our Nissans. So Guillerme just running his line, unfortunately caught at a bad time. continue to watch this lap. Let's stay on for the backstretch, just to show what you were talking about.
Yeah, see just how rough it is here. It's just like, it's just up and down and up and down. You feel it in the car. You really just start lifting up and down across here. And it's so bumpy as they go through these corners. This next section is just so rough for these GTPs to try and get any traction down. Fabian Gerber already having gained that time he lost back as he almost gets into the outside wall there. But look how bumpy it is through here.
A little bit farther back, we got a battle forming in the GTOs between Ben Laughter and Christopher Zoschling. This is Alberto Moreno just behind him, another driver that's dealing with a lot of damage. And actually, this is our leaders just behind them too, so this could affect that. Moreno changes very late, and somehow Albrecht manages to get through, deals with the traffic at the same time, and gets out the other side. I don't know how.
He got a little bit of contact there. That was rough for Justin. He might be down even more on speed now.
Watch the onboard replay. Fabian as well dealing with the traffic costs him, so he's not able to capitalize. This is Albrecht's perspective. Look at how quick he has to react here. Oh my God.
Yeah, he did collect a little bit of left front damage. You saw the fender just pop up a little bit. It's a little bit up from its buckling on the front end. So he's going to have a little bit more damage to contend with now, and that might bring Fabian Gerber even closer.
Stress this enough for drivers who come in to race this series and are new. Hold your line. That shows why. Justin Albrecht now 9/10 between himself and Gerber, but they're down to 3 minutes left. Are we down to 2 laps to go, or is this 3 to go?
I'm guessing this will probably be more around 3 to go here as Fabian Gerber gets held up behind Jake Johansson going through the corner. He's going to get held up again, and that'll be once again a 1.5 second gap that he has to close on Justin Albrecht. Fabian just cannot get this traffic right, and Justin Albrecht able to snake away again.
Back at battle in 5th place for the GTOs. Laughter looks on Zoschling. There's heavy braking for these two into the first corner, but it's still a difficult passing zone. Moreno's still stuck behind them, playing a very patient game. He might actually just be plain stuck because I'm not sure that he's got the pace. Yeah, his top end speed is actually slower than the Audis right now.
Yeah, so Moreno's just stuck exactly where he is, which is problematic for him. But here comes Ben Laughter, just unable to get through these corners well enough to challenge Zoschling, especially on exit. It looks like Laughter just cannot get the exits to really square off. He comes into the corners a little bit too shallow, and he can't get exits going, so Zoschling is getting those exits and is actually pulling away from Laughter, but look how much speed difference Laughter has on the straights.
Certainly seems like Zoschling has the upper hand. He's got the track position, which usually is what gives you the upper hand here, but like you said, that straight line speed is making life difficult for the number 21. I think we're down to 2 laps to go for the leaders because, yeah, Albrecht is just crossing the line right now. So we'll take the white flag next time through.
Actually,
Laughter starting to fall away. So let's head back to 3rd here in the prototypes. Mukanos and Tobias Gerber, and they're going to get split up actually just as we go to it. Poor Guillermo Kramer, unfortunately, in the wrong place at the wrong time again.
yeah. And Joe, the lead of the GTP is actually closed significantly. Justin Albrecht and Fabian Gerber in some clean air right now. Their next car is Rob Olenek a little bit up the road, but this appears to be actually the final lap. Looks like they threw the white flag possibly afterward. And so
Sure,
Justin
we'll
Albrecht and Fabian Gerber very close, but Fabian, he has to be thinking to himself that this might be his last opportunity to try and get by, and they've got some lap traffic up ahead. This might be the opportunity that he needs.
No, it says final lap there on our screen. I watched them cross with well more than a minute 19. Again, this could have a big effect. Got a little bit of time left. Yeah, they're going to cross with the white flag here. Look at this, just a train of GTOs. They know this is the leaders. They're trying to give them spaces. They are also battling traffic, and they're going to make it through. White flag has been waved. Albrecht, oh, he's slow off the corner. This could be the best chance for Gerber. He has got to send it here. Look at the slow top end speed. He's a sitting duck as Justin Albrecht has to defend the hard way. Round the outside, Gerber is going to get through. Last lap, and he makes the pass.
Now, can he hold off Albrecht? Albrecht is slow on top-end speed, yes, and Fabian Gerber has been faster, yes, but they have the lap car of Andre Gtos up ahead of them. He hopefully will catch him on the straightaway, but Justin is not about to let this slip away. He's going to try and catch Fabian here on the straight, but can he get enough speed in the toe to stay with it?
A gutting turn of event for the number 1 car after leading for almost the entire way.
Tobias Gerber's out of the race from 4th.
We'll look back to it later as Albrecht, ooh, this lap traffic, Gtos is kind of holding them up. We could see a sneaky attempt. He's going to look to the inside, but he just gets on the throttle too soon. Now they are finally let go. This, I don't think he has anything for him out of the final corners as close as he is. Fabian Gerber with an aggressive but fair pass takes the win, his 2nd of the season here at Detroit.
A fantastic win for Fabian. He caught Justin at just the right time.
And between Laust and Keefe, our leader in the GTOs, Dennis Neidhart, now has a 4.5-second lead. Did something happen to Phil Lake when we weren't looking?
No, it was just attrition. It was just that Phil's tires went a lot faster than Dennis's. Phil was pushing all race, and he just was unable to navigate the traffic well enough to catch up to Dennis. Dennis just has a commanding lead right now.
Watch Phil come into the fountain section there just to show you how far back he is, because Neidhart already coming to the end of it. Don't think Neidhart's got a completely clean car. I think I see a little bit of bent sheet metal on the right side. But as he comes out of 12 and 13, one more corner to go. Turn 14 for the number 3 car. Another victory on his belt. Dennis Neidhart wins today in Michigan. It's going to be the last of our drivers just coming across behind him, so that'll take us to a quick break. We'll let everybody lick their wounds here in Detroit, and then we'll come back with driver interviews as well as the official results. Don't go away, because on your screen you're going to see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. So, welcome back here to Detroit. That was a wild race, another good one here in Kamel. And up at the top, Fabian Gerber took the victory, but he started from second. He was in second for pretty much the whole race. It was the last lap that he made the pass. Poor Justin Albrecht, who was down on top end speed, had managed to hold him off much of the way, but just when he didn't want to be caught, Fabian made the overtake. He took the win. Albrecht finished his second, and Nick Mukanos was a distant third to finish off the podium. Laust Olsen was P4 with John Keefe in fifth place. Fabian Jungbluth finished sixth. Martin Krejcik was seventh today. Actually, a good gain for him, up from 12th. Same thing for Anderson, going from 16th to 8th, with Carlos Fonseca finishing in ninth. And then Tobias Gerber rounds out your top 10. Yuri Geisen in a lot of action out there. He winds up in 11th, a lap down. And Andre Juteau was 12th. Johnny Belle causing some issues as well, but still climbed from 24th to 13th. And then Alberto Moreno rounded out the finishing drivers in GTP in 14th.
Then we have Dennis Neidhart, who took the win in the GTO class over Phil Lake by more than about 4 seconds. Jerry Forkolb also finished the race, but quite a few laps down for the GTPs. Ove Trangere takes third position in the GTOs after what was a fairly uneventful race for him, which passing Jake Johansson about halfway through. Then Christopher Zoschling is actually going to finish behind Jake Johansson in the fifth position, with Ben Lapter in sixth. Guilherme Kramer is another driver who finishes in the GTPs quite a few laps down. Franco Scurry is going to take home seventh place today, a good points day for him. Alexander Veldman comes home in 8th, with Rob Olenek in 9th position. Then we have Hideki Koivisto, who comes home in the 5th spot, with Jamie Hamill-Smith in the 11th position, with Donald Peak in 12th, and Fabio Iadi was your first driver that did not finish the race. The rest of the cars on your screen were either DNFs or finished after taking significant repair.
Certainly seems like there was quite a few that fell victim to this track, which we kind of expected. And I think we've got one of our prototype drivers ready to talk to us. In fact, the top 5, bit of a surprise top 5 even, with John Keefe, who joins us. John, I think this looks like a case, at least from what I watched of your racing, of just keeping the car whole, and you wound up with a lot of points today.
Hello?
Yep, we got you, John. Welcome to the booth. Was it just kind of taking it easy out there for you today?
Hello?
Looks like John
I
can't
can't hear
hear
you
us.
guys if you can hear me. I can't hear
We
you guys at
we
all.
definitely can hear John, so I think we're going to talk to him later. It looks like he's not got things sorted out, so we might have to switch over to Ben Laughter. So let's talk over to Ben, one of our drivers in the GTOs. We'll try and get with John a little bit later as Adam is caught up with him.
Yeah, Ben, you did a great job today coming home in the 6th position, but it sure looked like traffic was pretty chaotic there. How tough was it out there for you guys to deal with the traffic today?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm more tired from driving or if you're probably more tired from shouting into a microphone, but yeah, intensity was the thing, and great battle with Christopher the whole race. Every time I felt like I caught a break against him, traffic would happen, and I would lose that break, and so I became Mr. Tryhard at the end there. Really good race against him all race. I was sad to mess up Nick and Tobias's battle late, but that was really difficult and fun and great. Loved it.
Yeah, as we always say in the on these Kamel GT broadcasts, we probably covered a third of the action, so unfortunately we missed that final moment there. But Ben, talk to me about this track. Is this one of the ones that you enjoy the most, or is it a really tough one that you just kind of like suffer through?
It's both, and that's why I enjoy it the most. I like difficult, right? I don't want lots of runoff like on modern F1 tracks. I want it to be unforgiving. It's one of the reasons Bathurst is such a great track, right? One mistake and your race is done. I enjoy that sort of thing. That said, please, everyone within the sound of my voice, if you're going to come race Kamel at one of the most difficult tracks, please practice. That start was well beneath the standards of this community for anyone watching, considering joining this series. Please practice if you're going to jump in the hardest cars at the hardest track.
Yeah, that was after one of the GTPs failed to get through the final corner before the start and ended up bottling up all of the GTOs, unfortunately. So, Ben, we don't get you up here that often. Is there anyone you want to thank today for your finish?
Christopher, Uwe, Rob, really clean, awesome racing, and most of the GTPs, as hectic as it was, did a really good job today. So, just want to thank everybody who came out and raced and put 46 cars on track, and some of us survived.
All right, that was Ben Laughter, our sixth place finisher in the GTOs. And next up, we're going to talk to Fabian Gerber, and he's with Joe.
Yes, Fabian snuck a win in, but it was on the last lap. I mean, are you as surprised as we are that you wound up the winner of that race?
Oh, how can I say? I'm very proud of that moment because it was in the last lap, yes. But I always thought maybe from lap 20 on that it's possible because I was closing up all the time. But it was so frustrating because every time I was reasonably close to Justin, some Audi or even Nissans just stuck their cars in front of my nose and wouldn't move away, even when they were totally lonely on track. So that was really frustrating and sometimes made me angry, but the final lap that paid off because then actually the traffic helped me a bit in the final lap.
Yeah, and we talk about this traffic a lot, but usually in relation to the Audis, you mentioned the Nissans. We saw a pretty wide disparity between lap times. I mean, do you have a different approach when you come up to the Nissans on how you lap them, or do you treat them just the same?
Yeah, that's hard to say. I think there's maybe some disagreement about this in the whole racing world because I think in a Nissan is a lap down and he won't get it back anyway. So he sees the blue flag. So I think he's supposed to let me through without costing me time actually, or not too much at least, like in Formula One, for example. So in Audi, it's different because he's in his own race, but the Nissan who's alone in the lap down, I think he should just leave him by. And usually I expect it, and then it gets really difficult if all of a sudden you realize, oh, he won't let me by.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of a kind of case by case basis, maybe, and knowledge of the drivers. Well, again, congratulations. This was an exciting one to watch, and certainly this will help you in your championship hunt. Hopefully, we'll get to talk to you next week.
I hope so too. I will be there at least. See you next week.
All right, awesome. Fabian Gerber back in the game with 2 wins on the trot. And meanwhile, second place down in the GTOs, Adam is caught up with Phil Lake.
Yeah, Phil, before we get to your battle with Dennis throughout the race, talk to me about that start. It looked extremely chaotic out there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, to be honest. I'm not sure how you can spin on a pace lap, but someone managed it, and Yuko just had nowhere to go. And then me and Dennis both sort of hesitated. I don't think either of us knew if we could go without getting black flagged or not, and it was a mess. So, I mean, Dennis had a fair lead straight away then. It was just a real shame for, well, half the top 10.
Absolutely. And then throughout the race, it looked like you had the pace on Dennis, but what was the deciding factor between you getting up to him?
Traffic today. Yeah, I felt like I had the pace. I knew from yesterday that my car got better towards the end. So I was just biding my time in the first 10 laps and then tried to close the gap up. But the traffic was just awful today. I mean, it was a lot of cars, so you have to expect it, but some of the decision making was bad. GTPs would go in take the apex from you and then be between us, and then they'd be slow off of the corner because they'd taken a bad line, like a shallow line, to pass you, so they just cost you time. And it just felt like it was happening all the time. And every time I got close to Dennis, it would happen again. And then people spun in front of me, and people would. It was just chaos the whole race, and it's hard to feel good about a close battle like that when you never really got the chance to have the fight, you know. it was just like following and trying not to get run over by somebody.
Yeah, a tough race at a tough track with a lot of cars. But next week we go to Road America, a place with a little bit more room and a little bit more of a familiar track to most drivers. Is that a course that you're looking forward to?
I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I don't actually like Road America very much. It always provides really exciting racing in Camel, though. The last race we had was really amazing there, so hopefully it's an exciting race again.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, Phil. And we wish you some better luck for next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That was Phil Lake, our second place driver in the GTOs. And back to you, Joe.
Yes, and that's going to close out our interviews for today. So we're going to give a big thank you ourselves to everyone who came out, and also to the Camel League in general, the Camel Series in general, for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But a thank you goes to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts. You can see them listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. You can see the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Doug. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise store. It's gsrc.storenv.com, or we've got a link in the description below if you'd rather not type that out. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Join us in a little bit of time, though, because the Jetta RX community, the Jetta RX series is up. They're heading to not Road Atlanta, excuse me. That'll be at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I've been calling road racing too much. However, we'll be on from awesome racing all over today. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.